Okay, we are continuing to move items from our storage locker here. So we rented a U-Haul trailer and we will be headed to our tiny house later this week. And I'll show you, we downsized on our storage locker. These lights don't stay on in the hallway for very long, but we downsized on our storage locker, so we don't have a lot of stuff left. All of our stuff that we had when we were boondocking in Quartzsite, we're going to take over there because we won't be boondocking before May. So you can see we've gotten quite a bit removed already. We had a bigger locker and now we're down in a smaller one, and pretty soon we'll have all this moved too. Okay, the U-Haul is all loaded, and the motorhome is all secured, and we are on our way to our tiny house. We hope that the weather will remain in the 50s and that there will be no snow. I don't think that thermometer is accurate because my watch says 48. But my husband probably has the sensor in the sun out there. It got down into the 20s last night, but we stayed warm inside. In fact, I think we had the heater up too high for Maggie because she got up in the middle of the night panting. And we got here probably about 9 o'clock p.m. It was a long drive and there was some road construction. And got the U-Haul unloaded. As you can see, some of the contents just got dumped in here, which we have to clear out because our son and his wife are coming next weekend. They've been checking on the place for us and staying here when the kids are with other people. And so we hope to get all that stuff in the storage locker in the next trip. We don't just have what's in here that's from the storage locker, because my husband loses his office in May. And so there's a lot of contents and stuff in there, more than 20 years of stuff in there. And so he's bringing some of it here until he can go through it. And right now he's outside trying to see what he can get in the, you see a nice blue sky out there, to see what he can get in the shed outside. And then we also have this box here. I think we had a video on that, but there's no snow. That's why we came. We've been watching the forecast, and as long as there's no snow, it doesn't matter to me what the temperature are. There's no precipitation expected in the next 10 days, which I'm sure disappoints the skiers, but makes it safer for us to travel on I-40 to get here, because we don't have to worry about ice and snow, especially when you're pulling a U-Haul trailer. And so that's what we brought all of our boondocking stuff with us that we usually keep in our snowbird space. That was in our storage locker when we're not boondocking, with solar panel, an extra solar panel, and our blue boys and water jugs and our outdoor mat. And then we brought stuff from his office. And the last trip will be the stuff that we're still using but won't fit in the motorhome. We'll probably do that in late March, bring another U-Haul load over here. But we're just here through the weekend. Want to come check on the place and have our son coming up about once every other month too. And one of the women on the end keeps watch on all the places while people are gone. So we'll check back in with you if anything new develops. We have a lot of errands to run, and I have no food in the refrigerator except breakfast stuff, so we're not going to buy any lunches or dinners. We'll just eat out because we're only going to be here till Sunday, and we probably won't be back until March. And our son generally brings his own food with him when he comes. But that's about all we've got for now. We've got some projects that'll be going on in the spring. We're going to get some ceiling fans put up. One there, one in the front bedroom, and one in our bedroom. And then we're going to see about, I'm going to show you this, see about raising the, or either getting a higher toilet. Unfortunately, my husband is very experienced with replacing toilets in houses and also in RVs, but this thing is so low to the ground that it's very hard when you're 65 and you have some knee issues. I don't need to have my knees replaced, but I have bone on bone pretty much. He can either replace the toilet, or we talked about putting a bar there so that I could push up on it if I needed to as I get older, and probably even him or any visitors we have. I mean, I've never had a house toilet with it this low to the ground. But I think that's what one of the projects. And then we have a lot of work to do in our yard, and we'll be working on that during the spring. If anybody has any suggestions of things that will survive during the winter, put it down in the comments. Okay, for those of you who are wondering, that's about all the snow we have in Flagstaff. I'm sure the skiing crowd is very unhappy with that, but for those who are not into winter, they're probably excited. Okay, one of the projects we're doing before we leave is to put some foam here, because when I make the bed, I keep banging my leg into that because that's a real sharp edge. We're using these foam pipe covers that you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. The drawer handles are metal, and so this has adhesive on it, and he's putting this on the drawer handles, so
and
that
the adhesive makes it stick.
Yeah, and then on the end of each corner. Now, I don't think he's going to do it up there because we would not be back on that side.
Nope.
But a lot of people use these on slide outs in RVs, and we used to do that on our fifth wheel too. So they work really good.
Easy to
They
install.
go right on there.
Doesn't keep you from opening the drawer.
And this bed came from, I can't remember the name of the place, but they sell Copenhagen furniture.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that is the name.
Yeah, it may even be the name of it. We've had 2 of these beds, and they're very well built, but they are very heavy. When you take them, put them together, in order to move it out, you would have to take it apart because it's not going through this doorway here. We have a project going on in the tiny house kitchen. We're making Maggie's dog food, and that's the start of it. The peas and carrots needed to go a little bit longer. This will make several batches for her. This is the Costco rotisserie pulled chicken that they package up after they've not sold the chickens for the day.
You still need to chop it up more
because there's still some big pieces in there.
Yep. So
And I also want to make sure, we've never found a bone in here, but I want to make sure we don't find a bone in here, so I always chop it up real thin.
yeah, and so this is a lot easier to do here because this kitchen in the tiny house is pretty good size. We haven't even filled all the cabinets, but that was our big project. We do this in the motorhome too. We also have the same equipment there, not as big a steamer as we do here. This is a 3-tiered steamer. And then he will put in some broth after he gets it all mixed together, and then we put it in Ziploc bags that can be frozen. When she goes to our pet sitters, we always send her own food. And So she was out here supervising, but she ate her breakfast, and I think she has an after breakfast hangover. But that's easier to do it here than it is in the motorhome, because here we have a dishwasher. We also brought all of our laundry from the motorhome because we don't have a washer and dryer, and our Snowbird Space RV park does not have really great laundry facilities, and they're always so busy with lots of people because they don't allow anybody to use their washer and dryer in their park models or in their motorhomes. So those are two good projects when we come to do. And this is what we feed Maggie. We have one of these. This is the bowl raised up so that she doesn't have to strain her neck in her water dish. We did find a few more things to hang up. We're still working on this room. I'm glad this is not my office space, and we found another Lasco heater. These are really great. I did a short on these. We have one in the motorhome. A lot of times we don't even run our propane heater because in a motorhome you can't have somebody come in and fill it, so you have to drive the motorhome out. So we have an auxiliary tank called an extend-a-stay setup. But for the tiny house, our son's going to come up here next weekend, and I don't think the little portable heater kept him as warm because this room gets a little more colder. And so we bought this at Sam's Club yesterday, and they have a special going where you get $5 off. So now we have two of these, one in the motorhome and one here. But we're still looking for a Murphy bed. I'm hoping that on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist we can find one. My husband tells me this is 9 feet by 9 feet tall. We want to find one. We've seen a couple of them that have bookcases on the side of them, but we don't want to have a regular bed in here because that would take up too much space, because this is not a big room. This is a lot smaller than our bedroom. Ironically though, it has the largest closet that goes all the way back there and all the way back there. But that's the status of what we're going to do. We'll be back here in March. We have our son coming up to check the place. He and his wife had to have a weekend away from kids. So they have different places that the kids go, and they come up from Phoenix area, and he checks it out for us and makes sure everything's okay. And so we won't be back until March. We'll be here a lot in March because my husband has his spring break. And so that's the status of the inside. We got everything from the U-Haul trailer that we moved over here, put out in the storage shed. And I'm going to go outside because the sun is out. It's going to be 52 degrees. And look at that beautiful blue sky with the pine trees. And my husband discovered a new outside project. Those gutters are full of pine needles, and that's a fire hazard. It also might attract critters. And so when we come in March, we're going to get up, he's going to get up there on the roof and sweep out all the pine needles. These are all empty, and we're going to try to give them away on Facebook Marketplace. But he got everything in the shed, and we still have room. All of our boondocking supplies are in the Rubbermaid back there because we won't be boondocking in winter, and we will probably go out this summer into the National Forest and do a lot of boondocking. So, but we don't need as much stuff during the summer as we do during the winter. And the Ranger pulled the U-Haul. It's the first thing it's pulled. And we'll have to bring another U-Haul trailer over here in March. It's pretty quiet in the tiny house village here. I think a lot of people are not here during the winter. This one behind us is one of the smaller ones. So if you're looking for something, they still have some for sale here, but there is also Village Camp in Flagstaff. It's actually in Belmont, but they call it Village Camp Flagstaff. They are adding a whole bunch of new cabins for sale. When we looked into buying one there, the problem is that at that time you can only live in them 6 months of the year, and then you put it up on the rental market. So they would rent them overnight, and then you would get a portion of the proceeds. And we didn't want to be bound to 6 months, because we'll be eventually living here year-round, but we'll still be going out in our motorhome doing a lot of traveling. But this will be our home base in June. We are keeping our snowbird space in California. We won't let that go. We can only be there off and on 7 months of the year. That's the rules in California, so that you're not living in them unless you have a park model, or there's a lot of different rules in Riverside County. But anyway, Village Camp has a whole bunch of new ones for sale. They started at $200,000, and some of them are over $300,000. I also noticed that Munns RV Park in Munns Park, it's Munns Park RV Park, has some for sale too, some new ones, and then some that owners that are selling that have put up for sale. Theirs are a lot cheaper, but you can only access them a few months of the year, because they turn off the water during the winter. And so if you're looking for a tiny home, it's still a more affordable option. We paid $199,000 for this, and we would have paid well more than that if we'd have bought a house here, or we would have had to have bought a trailer in a mobile home park. But at least here we own the unit, and we lease the land from the developer, and so there's not as much of a worry that they're going to close. And I know there's some mobile home parks that are closing down, and everybody has to move out. I don't think any of them in Flagstaff, but in California there's one that we know that is closing its doors, and everybody's got to relocate because they've sold it to somebody else. But there are a lot of affordable options. I know people say Flagstaff is expensive. It is if you want to buy a house, but if you're coming from Southern California, it's still cheaper here in Flagstaff. And it's not that we don't like California. We do like it a lot. But our son lives in Phoenix, and as we get older, we want to be closer to him. And so that's why we decided to be here. We don't like the summers in Phoenix, and it's hard to keep an RV cool in the heat of the summer. But we'll be leaving tomorrow and going back to California. But I just want to give everybody an update of where we stand. We're going to go look at ceiling fans today, see if we can put get somebody to install them for us in March. Then we're going to start looking at the landscaping here. As you can see, this is a mixture kind of wood chips and a little bit of gravel. And the little sinkhole that we had there after they covered it up for us is gone. And the pest control people are coming back on Tuesday, because it looks like a squirrel or something dug underneath the fence, and there's a little digging been going on, but not any rats or mice. At least this definitely looks like either a gopher or a squirrel. And they're going to put some more of the metal flashing along the bottom. It's in the back by our Rubbermaid, and so they'll be coming on Tuesday to take care of that, because other people in the neighborhood have had some problems too. I mean, that's pretty common during the winter here, I think. So when we have more news on what's going on here in Flagstaff, we'll keep you posted.